Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I would love to welcome you each into the kitchen on this very cold, chilly afternoon where it's Halloween. And I'm going to bake something. It's been 4 years or better since I've made it. And I'm going to bring y'all along because what appropriate time to be making this. Now, of course, unfortunately, this video will post on Friday after the fact, but this is also wonderful as a centerpiece for your Thanksgiving meal as well. So, let's talk a little more about what I'm going to do. Here we have the beautiful pumpkin, gorgeous pumpkin. It's heavy for its size, so hopefully it's thick walled on the inside. You want to make sure that when you get your pumpkin that your bottom is fine, no bad spots on the sides, and you somewhat have a handle because this is going to be important. You want to leave your handle on. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to cut the top around, pull it off, clean it, put it to the side and save it. Then we're going to clean out all the seeds and what a lot of people call guts from inside the pumpkin. And then once that's done, well, we're going to have some fun seasoning the inside. And what we're going to do is fill it with a custard, well, an old fashioned custard rice pudding with some special ingredients in it. And then we're going to bake it all together. So let's get started on cleaning the pumpkin. And of course, be careful cutting your pumpkin. Don't cut yourself. It don't have to be perfectly cut, but you want to be able to get the lid off. And you want it in one piece. You will make sure you don't cut any holes in the bottom and you don't cut any holes in the sides because you don't want to take any chances of what's going to be on the inside leaking out. And it don't have to be perfect. You can make it perfectly round, but as long as you can open it, that's what matters. Now let me go get a paring knife. I'm going to use the paring knife to make sure that you can open it up. I made this recipe a long time ago for a big festival, and I set them as centerpieces on the table, and everybody that sat at each table had to share, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Wee-ha! Look at all those seeds, y'all. Now, we're going to move that out of the way. And what we're going to do Just cut those off. Now you do not want to mess with the sides much at all. You don't want to change the shape of the top. And I was hoping that this was going to be a good thick-walled pumpkin. And it is. Okay, and see, it will ride right back on top. The reason why you want a really good thick-walled pumpkin is because when you go to serve the baked pumpkin, you're going to take your serving spoon and you will scoop the pumpkin along with the rice pudding, and it's ate together. It's wonderful. Alright. Now, yep, they have scoops, pumpkin cleaning scoops, and so on. To me, an old, used canning jar lid. Best scraper there is. It fits pretty good right in your hand. Now you can use a bigger pumpkin, or you can use a smaller pumpkin. It's up to you and how many people you're feeding. And so you just keep scraping. You only want to get the guts and the seeds out of the pumpkin. Weehaw! And you want to try not to mess with where the lid come off your pumpkin, because you don't want to mess up, because the lid needs to ride perfectly on top. Alright, I'm going to finish cleaning out the pumpkin and show you what it looks like on the inside. See you back here in a little bit. Okay, the pumpkin is cleaned out. Now, what I'm going to do next is take the lid off. Now, do not worry, your pumpkin will weep some. Just pat it dry. There's a reason why I want to pat it dry. It don't have to be absolutely dry, but it needs to be, because for this recipe that I created a long time ago, I like to build flavors inside the pumpkin. Okay, what you're going to do, and this is real butter, you're going to smear it best you can all over the inside. And it's going to get messy. You want to get as much as you possibly can all around the inside. And I totally forgot to take my bracelet off before I started. It was on my mind to do. And we're going to butter the lid to the pumpkin as well. Let's see what we're doing is we're going to start layering flavors. Like I said, you want to rub the butter in it really good. Of course, this will melt and drip off, but it'll be fine. Now, for the next layer of flavor, I've got light brown sugar here. And it's about a tablespoon of cinnamon. Now, what of this doesn't get used will be going into the rice pudding. And you want to layer this in there really good. And yes, it gets messy. I mean, if you can't get every little bitty piece covered, it's not going to be the end of the world, I promise you. Just do the best you can, because this is no easy feat. And I'm just going to pack it on the top as well, because basically this just melds in with the rice pudding. So, like I said, it don't have to be perfect. You will get as much off your fingers back into the pumpkin. We're going to put the lid back on to keep gnats out. Alright, I'm going to go and get the ingredients ready for this rice pudding. See you back here in a bit. Okay, before I get the rice pudding ingredients out, I have a cookie sheet with a regular aluminum pan in it. Now, my pan is old, it's got a couple holes in it, so I've lined it with aluminum foil. Now, we're not going to put any water in the pan. The pumpkin should sit right in there. And this is how we're going to bake it. Now, I have the oven preheating to 375. So when we're ready to roll with this, I can slide the whole thing into the oven. And you're going to want the cookie sheet because that's going to help you be able to move this pan inside the oven. Now, I bake it on the cookie sheet because these aluminum pans are flimsy anymore, and you'll be able to carry it, lift it by the cookie sheet. So I'm going to get the rice pudding ingredients ready, and I'll bring y'all right back. Okay, now I am making a triple batch of this rice pudding. I'll have the single batch recipe in the description box below the video. Now this is a old-fashioned custard baked rice pudding. It's not like a lot of the rice puddings people are used to. This is a custard based one. So it's going to be thick and creamy and just delicious because I took a very old custard rice pudding recipe and I have tweaked it and added other ingredients to it. So this is my recipe. In this bowl, I have 5 cups of whole milk. Now, you can use 5 cups of half and half if you'd like to, if you want it even more creamier. To this, I'm going to add 6 whole eggs. Like I said, it's a custard recipe, so it's going to be a whole lot thicker and creamier. Now, if you are intimidated by doing it inside of a pumpkin, that's fine. You can also bake this in a 375 degree oven in a very well buttered casserole dish. And if you just bake it in the casserole dish, it'll take about 50 to 60 minutes for it to cook. Alright. And don't worry, your milk is going to turn colors because of the egg yolks. You want to see that. It's going to turn even more colors by the time we get done mixing this. Now, to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of cane sugar, what's left of the brown sugar cinnamon mix from rubbing the inside pumpkin. And I'm going to add a wonderful secret ingredient that I wasn't expecting to have, but thanks to my sister Angela, she gave me a quart jug of maple syrup from when her and her husband went on their trip. So I'm going to use about a half a cup. And this is New York, not New York City, New York maple syrup. Now there's a reason why this is going to be really sweet. Because one, your pumpkins pumpkin is not that sweet. And some of the other ingredients that's going in here are not that sweet either. Okay, now, where did I put it? Right here. We're going to want 3 teaspoons of vanilla. Real vanilla, not imitation vanilla. And of course, I eyeball it. And yes, there's a good chance that's healthier than 3 teaspoons, but you know what? This is an amazing dish. Splurge just a little. Oh, and also, I had inside my sugar 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. Now we're going to work on our seasonings, our spices. I want 1.5 teaspoons of nutmeg. Watch your fingers very well using that. Okay, we're going to want 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Since there was cinnamon already in the brown sugar, I'm just going to do a teaspoon of cinnamon. Let me tell you, this smells amazing already, but we're not done yet. No, we're not done yet. It's fall. You gotta have some ginger. I want a teaspoon of ginger. Now for just a little twist, a citrus kind of like taste, I'm going to use coriander. Now I prefer using cardamom, but at the moment I'm out of cardamom powder. Oh, it smells good. And that is coriander, ground coriander. Alright. In here I have a cup of ground hazelnuts. All they were roasted hazelnuts, chopped roasted hazelnuts, and I just powdered them up. You can use walnuts. You can use black walnuts. You don't have to use tree nuts if you don't want to. You can use almonds if you wanted to. Now, to this, I'm going to add 6 cups of cooked rice. this is how you use up leftover rice. This rice pudding calls for already cooked rice. And into the mix that goes. Now, gently, very gently, you can whisk it to break up any clumps of rice. But you do not want to break up your grains of rice. You just want to break up clumps. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to use some craisins. About a good healthy cupful, hence why you want the extra sweetness. I might, and it's no might, I think I'm going to add just a few more. I might not, let's see. Yep, I'm going to add another one. And of course, the craisins will plump back up as they cook in with the rice pudding. I'll be right back. Alright, I know a lot of people are going to go, ew, but you need to taste it to make sure that it's sweet enough. I'm going to add, oh good grief, it ain't that much. A little bit of brown sugar. And a little more maple syrup. Sometimes you don't have to tweak the recipe, sometimes you do. Alright, that's good. Now I'm going to go get the pumpkin and we're going to fill it up. Alright, you're going to be gentle and remove the top to your pumpkin. Set it aside. Try not to touch it much. And we're going to get as much of this in the pumpkin as possible. You want to try not to spill anything on the side if possible, because if it gets into the pan that it's sitting in, it could start smoking while it's cooking. And as you see, when I got a little bit on the side, I just wiped it up. Now, this is going to be very heavy. If you cannot lift heavy things, make sure that there is somebody there that can help you get this to the oven. And I think this is going to completely make it into the pumpkin with a little bit of room possibly left over. Because you're going to want a little bit of room so the rice pudding can expand and cook inside. Okay. And we're going to just keep putting it in the pumpkin. I wish y'all were here to smell this. It smells, oh, see, you gotta be careful about that. It smells so amazing in here. And like I said, you want to be careful. You want to get all that wiped up. Now, I think I'm at a point where I can go on it. You see, just fill your pumpkin up. And don't you worry, this rice pudding is gonna cook down and get really thick. I had to go get a spatula because I don't want to lose these hazelnuts and other ingredients, especially the spices, on the side of the bowl. And of course, try to stir it without touching the bottom of the pumpkin. See how beautiful that is? Now, I am going to put in dollops of the butter here and there that was left over from buttering the sides of the pumpkin, because it's got, cinnamon sugar all in it. And you want that in there. Now, me being me, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit more cinnamon on top. This is just extra. You don't have to, but it sure does make everything a whole lot better. And if you decide to do this in a casserole dish, you can do the same thing on top. Okay. Very gently move the pumpkin. Oh, I wish y'all could smell that. Move it back to the center of the pan. No water in your pan at all. Very gently. Put your lid back on. And we're going to put this in a 375 degree oven. It's going to take anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours for it to bake. What you're going to do is, after an hour, check on it. You can check on it in between. You don't have to touch nothing. Don't do nothing. Just make sure that your pumpkin is not getting too brown. If it is, put aluminum foil over the top of it. What you want to do is, once you know your pumpkin is done, it will give. And I will bring you back to show you that. So, anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours later, this beautiful pumpkin will be ready and I'll bring you back. See you after a while. Okay, the pumpkin is done and fully baked. Some of the juices did come out, which is fine, but that pumpkin is done. Now I'm gonna wait and let it cool down, because let me tell you, that thing is hot as can be right now. The juices out on top. I don't know how the juices got on top, but it did. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? And I will bring you back as soon as it cools down and we're ready for dessert tonight. See you after a while. Okay, it has cooled down enough, so we will take the top off. Look at that, perfectly cooked. Oh, the smell. Oh, the smell. And what you do is you scoop around the edge of the pumpkin, and that way you get pumpkin as well. But you try not to scoop through the skin. Look at that. That not beautiful? Oh, the smell, y'all. The first bowl is always for the ancestors. Next bowl is for me. You can see all the hazelnuts, the cinnamon, the craisins. Look at that. Pumpkin's perfectly cooked. The rice pudding is perfectly cooked. Now, if you wanted to, you can serve that with some vanilla ice cream. Let me go get my spoon. I'll be right back. I was going to say it was right at close to an hour and a half. It was close to an hour and a half. But it's done. The pumpkin is beautifully cooked. And of course, it's going to have the seasoning of the wonderful custardy rice pudding. Now, when you take a bite, you want to make sure you get the rice pudding and the pumpkin. Now, I'm going to try not to burn myself. Oh, the smell. Oh, that is so good. You can taste the maple syrup, the cranberries, the hazelnuts, everything, y'all. And a mosquito. Go on. I don't know where it come from. It's 31 degrees outside. Mm, it's so creamy and delicious. This is an amazing dessert for Halloween night to pay homage to the ancestors, the true reason behind Halloween, the ancestors, those that came before us. Simple, easy, homemade. Anybody can do this. Now, like I said, if you feel intimidated by baking the rice pudding inside the pumpkin, you can do it in a casserole dish and be just fine. And the single batch recipe will be in the description box below. You saw how big the pumpkin was? It took a triple batch to fill it up. Delicious, y'all. I'm ready to finish my bowl up. So, everyone, stay safe and sound in this crazy world. It's getting worse and worse. Continue to stock your pantries with food that will sustain you, foods that will nourish you. Continue to stock up on your medicine that will heal you, protection of all kinds, and the bare essentials. Everyone, stay safe and sound. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and may you each be blessed. Hoot, hoot. Y'all take care.